Sippers and Stoners. It's me, Anna DK, checking in once again, and I'm here with another 60 Days In review, okay? So we're on to episode 6. Before we get started, go ahead and like this video if you like it, right, at the end. Go ahead and comment if you see something that you disagree with, or you see something that you agree with, or maybe there's some shit that I didn't touch on, right? So you go ahead and, I think I'm not supposed to cuss in the first minute. Anyways, so go ahead and like and comment, subscribe, but most of all, hit that notification bell so you know every time I come to you with another video, okay? Okay, so let's get started. I want to get a few people out of the way first, either because they didn't have a lot going on or because it's not really much to talk about, okay? So this time, for the first time, we're going to go ahead and talk about Deadness, okay? Nothing really happened with Deadness on the show today, probably for the first time, except for at the very, very end, he got to talking to Tony, and he was like, I think he might be a part of the program. He's pretty sure. And clearly he's right, but we'll see how that progresses later on. I'm curious to see how their chemistry is gonna be, but I have high hopes. You understand what I'm saying? Shanice. I want her to quit. Okay, you know how I kind of wanted everybody to make it through to the end. I thought Shanice was gonna make it through to the end or whatever, right? Listen, I want her to quit at this point. Why do I want her to quit? Because while they are displaying great disregard for your health and eating and what you're gonna do, they're displaying like blatant disregard for your well-being, and we all know that, and we definitely all empathize in that area. You though have the option to opt out. You got the option to stop, right? If it's that bad, I need you to stop. You are choosing to stay. However, you're also choosing to like complain every step of the way. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Every day is something about your food. Every day is about how they fucking up. Every day. And you don't think that the people that you have to spend all this time in close quarters with will get tired of you talking about the same thing every day? Not that we don't understand the severity of the situation, because we do. If it is that severe, you do have the option to go. And at some point, you will make your mental health the priority, or your physical health, or whatever the health is that is being affected. You have to make that a priority and just go home. Drop a note in the comments and let me know if you're ready for Shanice to go home as well. Okay? That's all I really got to say about her going home. She also put up the distress signal, and it wasn't an emergency. She put up the distress signal just to talk about how they having a hard time. Listen, boo-boo, it's prison. It's prison. And not only is it prison, but it's prison and you're choosing to stay. And if you just want to get out to have a breather, like, you're not really getting the experience, because they don't get to get out and have a breather. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I want her to quit. Okay? I just do. Okay. Jen. Nothing really went on with Jen this time, except they did choose to highlight a certain portion that they had never done before, and I'm kind of glad that they're talking about it. So Jen said that she had an experience and that she felt attacked by a spirit the night before. And she said, of course, I couldn't see it, but it is something that I could feel. And she was praying in the Holy Spirit. Listen, I think that if they're going to show all of this other shit on TV, they ought to be able to show someone praying in their heavenly language. You ought to be able to show she's gone out of her way to explain to us about her faith in Christ. She's gone out of her way to explain to us that her purpose for being there is to change people's lives. Now, we all know that if you are a believer, You know that you can't go in there on your own strength. You also know that praying in the understanding is something that the enemy can understand too. So when you pray in your heavenly language, it's something that the enemy can't understand. And it is something, a tool that believers use to be able to access God. It is a tool that believers use so that they can't even get in their own way by praying in the understanding. So I thought it was great that they actually highlighted that she was praying. Now, I know that they make a big joke about that on mainstream media, and they like I hate that shit, because honestly the Holy Spirit ain't nothing to be played with, and it's real. So I'm glad that they chose to highlight that, because they're highlighting everything else. We can see everything on TV, but they don't ever really take the chance on things like that. And I was so happy to see that. And like I said, I think Jen is going to make it for sure. Okay. You know, so I just kind of like wanted to get those few out the way so that we could get to the other ones. Okay. Okay. So Alex, we're going to go ahead and start with Alex. Okay. Alex, got his commissary, obviously didn't get robbed. At least it's not something they're talking about right now. But they did do a whole little shakedown, right? So they shook down all the cells and all of this good stuff. And Alex and his cellmates actually had to get strip searched. So they telling him, bend over, cough. He's doing all of the things. He's feeling embarrassed. He's like, damn, this makes you feel like less than a man. Yeah, I can understand that, you know? And they also moved his cell. Okay, the things kind of picked up here. So they put him in the cell with the two white boys that told him that the black boys was going to rob him. Now, if he didn't get robbed by the black boys, clearly you know you can't trust these white boys. And now all of a sudden, you're moving into their cell and you don't know why, and you don't think that there's something fishy about that? I'm sure he did, because he called his mama. He called his mama like, yeah, they put me in the cell with these two other guys. I don't know why, yada, yada, yada. Hang up with his mama's like, yeah, so these guys, they smoke. They are stoners or whatever the fuck the case is, right? Speaking of which, let me light my weed. So these guys smoke or whatever. And, you know, Alex, they're in the cell. Now they're asking Alex all of these questions. How long you been in here? Who's your lawyer? When's your court date? Yada, 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 yada. Alex, you know, he kind of kept it together, but not really, right? So, dude is writing down notes about what Alex is saying. So Alex is like, fuck, right? So anywho, they start smoking. And Alex is like, man, I can't be a square. Like, I gotta get him to trust me. So, oh my God, my guy, Alex, he starts to smoke too. He got high with them. Now listen, I don't know what the shit is like, the rules is like. I don't know if they're like, you know, you could do it to fit in and we won't, you know, you won't be in trouble. But my guy, he started smoking. He said it just made him feel, you know, whatever. It didn't make him want to eat nobody's face or nothing like that. Okay, Alex. See, certain things I don't ever want to try. Some stuff might be one-hitter quitters. Some stuff you might try one time and you're addicted for the rest of your life. There are certain drugs I will never try. I'm going to stick to the regular stuff that grow out of the ground. God made this. It's for me. Weed loves me and I love weed. You understand what I'm saying? I'm never going beyond that. I don't need to get high, like way up there high. I don't need that. I don't need heroin. I don't need crystal meth. I don't need ecstasy. I don't need speed. I don't need any of that other stuff. Scissor, lean. I don't need none of that shit. Okay? Just give me the herb that grows out of the ground and I'll be okay. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So anyway, Alex starts smoking with his guys and Alex is like, oh, sorry, Mom. Yeah, that's what he's doing, you know? And I'm like, you know, okay, Alex, that's what's up. If that's what you want to do, right? So we'll see what happens with Alex, okay? Tony. Let's talk about Tony. Tony, made a friend in there, Justin. Justin is a pretty small white boy in there, and he was up top with all of the black people in the pod. All of the white people are normally downstairs, but this guy is up top. He's small. He's Tony saw him going around asking people for their food and eating a lot, right? So he's like, oh man, I don't really like that. That makes me feel some kind of way. I'm gonna take him under my wing. I'm gonna make sure he get fed. And he just moved old boy into his cell. I don't know how he did it, but he did. He was just like, Tony, come get your shit. Come to my cell. And what Tony do? Came to his cell. I would have came anyway, So now it's Tony, Justin, and what's his name? The other celly, the smoker, Damon. I don't know. Anywho, so it's been a couple of days, and the celly, not Justin that just moved in, not Tony, but the other celly is not really bathing or keeping himself clean. And so they're complaining about him bathing and stanking up the entire cell. And dude is like, I did bathe. I bathed. He didn't bathe. So Tony brought up the fact that he was in there for like trespassing. And he said that normally means that the person might be homeless. And when a person is homeless, then they're not always used to, upkeep. And they're not always used to being clean and being fresh or whatever. But he has to take a shower every day. This ain't gonna work. So now everything is stinking. He not in there, but his sheets is stinking. A pillowcase, everything he touches is stinking, right? So Justin and the other cellmate, they are arguing and they about to get into it. So they start fighting. Tony jump up on his bunk and watch. Like, I'm gonna just let him go head up, And after a while, he went ahead and broke it up. And he's like, y'all shake hands, dap it out. So ain't nobody attacking nobody while they sleep or nothing like that. They made up and they walked out. Now, Justin, I guess his hand is broken. Justin is mad. Justin is like, Tony didn't break it up. Tony didn't like, hey, you gotta bathe, my nigga. Tony, he expected Tony to like jump in. And Tony's like, I'm not jumping in on no head up type stuff. Unless somebody's getting like stomped out or beat up or, you know what I mean? But he's like, I don't have no reason to jump in on anything that's head up. I don't know if that's what he was expecting, but he probably shouldn't because I'm not gonna do that, So clearly, Justin is upset. We don't know what's gonna happen now because Justin is kind of like, he seemed like the type that'll, go get his homeboys. Like, he didn't protect me. Like, so, that was that. And so the last person that we're gonna talk about is Muffin, right? So Muffin had a very interesting time in this episode. Muffin started the episode by giving the distress signal because of the shit that, C.O. Williams was doing. She was definitely abusing all the inmates. She definitely didn't give no fucks. Okay? She was just like, no, this is what it is. And I don't give a fuck, right? I don't care about this job. I don't care about you. So the old girl, I guess her relief comes in, and even the other CO was like, damn, you grouchy, like, fuck. And she's like, I'm not grouchy. I'm not grouchy. No, bitch, you're grouchy. You are. You don't care about your job. You already said it. Your mental health is probably like fucked off by this point. And I believe that if something did try to happen to her, she would claim mental abuse and she would win. Because what it seems like is she works a job where you automatically got to have tough skin, right? But how many days can you take getting threatened and called a bitch consistently throughout the day and think that that's going to be okay? How many days can you do that before you start to retaliate? I'm not saying it's okay to retaliate. She should definitely not have her job. Clearly. But before it got to that point, when she first started complaining, and I'm not even talking about the beginning of the show when we heard her talk about it, but I'm talking about before, like they should have done something to be able to help with mental health because COs go through a lot. I can imagine COs go through a lot. Everybody in jail ain't in there because they didn't do it. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So they go through a lot, so they need mental health days too. And that's probably what she took. But she's so far gone and disrespectful, like she definitely shouldn't have her job. That's all I'm saying. So Muffin is like, yo, she goes into the interview. She gives the distress signal. They pull her in for the interview. And she's like, this is horrible on my mental health. And then she starts to talk about how, yeah, this is going to impact how I do my job. Listen, this is the 6th season. They had a cop on a few seasons ago, another white boy who worked in probably Middle America or something like that. He has since quit his job. He said he couldn't even go back to being a cop and arresting people for simple marijuana, knowing he was sending them to places like that. Like, it should be mandatory for cops to go through this type of training so that they can have empathy. And you can't have empathy for something that you've never experienced. So one thing I would say for like white cops that may ever see my video, here's what I do understand. If a person grows up in Middle America, let's say they grow up in like buttfuck Egypt or something like that, right? You grow up in a small town where there are hardly any black people in the town, okay? You don't really grow up around black people like that. The only image or idea you get about black people is what you see on TV. And we all know what that looks like, right? So you grow up and you decide you want to become a police officer, right? And so you become a cop, you go through your training, and you know the training is biased against black people too, right? In almost every police department in America, right? So, and then they put you in the hood for patrol, right? They put you in a bad area. So not only do you not know any black people, but chances are when you meet the black people, you're meeting them on the worst day of their life. You're meeting them on a day that they've committed a crime, that they've made a bad decision, that they've done something that if they got to meet you, they are not the average black person if they have to meet you in that situation as a cop, right? So they cannot be indicative of all black people, but if that is your only experience with black people, then you're going to think black people are disrespectful. You're going to think all black people hate cops. You're going to think all of that shit, right? And then that affects how you treat all black people because of the black people that you all met on your job, which requires you to meet people on some of the worst days of their life, right? So you cannot identify with the black experience because you don't know it. You can't live it, right? But what you can do is identify with the places that you send black people to. And then maybe you'll have a little more empathy before you put handcuffs on somebody for a joint or for a blunt, something that we know is already legal. And we know the only reason why they still putting black people in jail from it is because of the prison industrial complex and the labor and all of this other kind of stuff. You understand what I mean? So it's like you have to understand the totality of an experience before you can judge that experience, right? So I try to understand what the viewpoint or what the vantage point might be like of a white person that has never met a black person except for on their job. You have to be able to understand another person's point of view, right? So, and I try to do that, right? Regardless of my personal feelings, I try to understand a person's point of view, you know? So, all of that to bring us back around the muffin. So C.O. Williams comes in her cell and like, so do you want to be a worker? And Muffin's like, yeah, because who wouldn't pass up that opportunity to find out really how shit work, right? Muffin was smart. She's like, okay, look, I'm going to do it. The guards is on my radar now. They are in my crosshairs and I'm going to find out how they do what they do. And I'm going to see, you know, whatever I could see, right? Now, being a trustee is hard ass work, okay? They may trust you and that's what's up. But you got to do everything. You're doing like you're doing the meal time, you cleaning up. She had to go into a cell with someone who was, you know, mentally ill, and it was shit everywhere and they had to clean it up. Like little things like that make it hard. So now I'm wondering if the C.O. Williams bitch didn't give her the job just to kind of like run her through the dirt, like just to give her all of the hard shit. You understand what I mean? So that like maybe she can keep an eye on her. So Muffin was like, yeah, I think she think it's some keep your enemies closer than your friends type shit, you know? And she might be right about that. However, she's also in a unique position to be able to find out the shit. You don't know, they could be sneaking drugs in on them trays. They could be doing all that kind of shit that she'll be able to figure out now. You understand what I mean? So overall, I think this was a pretty good episode. It's the kind of thing I like to call like a filler episode, you know? But it does provide lots of detail and background. I'm just going to look and see if I missed anything. Oh, so one lady said to Muffin, I think you work for the government. right? She's having a hard time keeping her story straight. I don't know how she gonna keep her story straight. It's looking at the camera and saying, I love this. Like, that did it. Like, now the inmates is like, no, fuck this bitch. She is from the government, and ain't nothing she can do really to change their minds. But she is trying to, like, get their trust, earn their trust and things like that, you know. She's gonna have to start talking less about her charge and you know, do other shit. I don't know. But I don't know what she gonna do about the chick that really do feel like she's 60 days in. I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna be able to keep her cover. Anyway, this is a great episode, and I'm gonna be back on, you know, Friday, well, either Thursday night or Friday morning with another upload. I won't be late again, y'all, okay? I'm sorry. Anywho, I'm Miana DK, and until next time, you never know what's gonna be in this morning's cup. I love y'all, I swear I do. This is the ending of my video.